just the first step of the road to Rotterdam and then eventually winning the title. And being part of Fnatic kind of put some pressure on you because Fnatic has won 5 out of 6 titles so far, and I think I've been part of 2 of them, so I would really like to get a third. But then again, it's a tough road ahead of us, so we'll have to put in another gear and see if we can take things to another level.
Well, they were able to take things up at least one level in there. Welcome back to the Spring Playoff Quarterfinals, everybody. Fnatic, they're 1-0 heading into game number 2, and the road to Rotterdam is getting a little shorter for them.
And they're right on track from my 3-1 Vitality prediction.
Yeah, of course. Hey.
I'm so afraid of it right now. I don't think they're going to make it because Vitality game 1.
I mean, that's again the thing when there are these 2 week breaks here where teams are going to work on everything. They're going to find new picks. You know, they're going to maybe change up the play style quite a bit. Fnatic went from, in the start of the split, to being this late game focused team with scaling, and we would criticize it. It would fall apart. Then they went in with the IM style of like very aggressive early on. We were like, oh, that's awesome, Fnatic, go, go, go. And now it actually went back to the slow scaling. But they executed it extremely well, something they couldn't do early in the split because they could punish Vitality again and again and again.
Right. I mean, it worked, and a lot of it was on that triple threat. The Kassadin last pick team turned out to be the linchpin because it wasn't pressured outside of that, that level 2 gank with the Ignite burned.
But the following 2 games, regardless of the outcomes, for me are very exciting because we have 2 teams here that have shown pretty interesting kind of flexibility in pick and bans. Like Fnatic, through a best-of series, have shown to be adaptable and read their opponents. From week to week, best of ones, not so much, in my opinion. And then Vitality, every time Fnatic have had in the split a composition that was signature to them, that's actually a point Kelsey Moser brought up in an article, it has been dismantled to a degree by Vitality. So maybe game 2, they can now read Fnatic, and suddenly we have a really good series on our hands.
I mean, Fnatic has very quickly become predictable during the split. Like in the start, they would just spam tanks.
The Olaf-Zac composition, that
was funny.
Switched,
yeah, and they like picked the exact same thing. But then later on, it was just only tanks for Gamsu in the top lane when people were other people were playing Fiora and Quinn and these picks. Now again,
the split push Maokai at the inhibitor.
Yeah, we see something different. Last game though, and I feel like we have to say it, it wasn't lost or won in the pick and ban phase for either team. It looked tricky for Fnatic, I still feel.
I think it was an uphill battle, but they played it well.
They outplayed Vitality in the game itself, and that's where Fnatic deserves all the credit. New pick and ban phase, new game.
New game.
See if they can indeed turn things around here. Fnatic now on the blue side. They start things off with the Trundle ban.
I like it. Trundle, for me, Trundle Poppy is a duo that you need to respect. Either you pick one, give one away, or maybe on blue side you ban one and you force the other team to ban the other. Yes. You will first pick that Poppy if it's available.
But that's also information for the other team then saying, okay, you will very likely first pick that Poppy. We feel like we maybe have, you know, a pick that can do okay into it. So therefore we will give you that Poppy and then take the 2 strong picks for ourselves. Could be the Azir one more time for Vitality. The reason you're banning Varus on blue side, Prepper, we have talked so much about this in the office.
People are tired of it.
Yeah, they're basically tired of hearing it, but you don't want that last pick Varus to come in against your Azir comp. So as the counter, basically.
Yeah, it basically allows Fnatic to pick up Azir either first pick or on second rotation and not really get punished too hard. There are some counter picks available. The Varus is the most prominent one. I hope somehow that it plays out, that now Poppy gets banned 3rd by Vitality. Fnatic seemingly really like Azir, and then we get Sivir Maokai from Vitality. It's my favorite purple side rotation on the first 2 picks, only if Poppy and Trundle are out though.
Fnatic does have a ban here though to pull on either of those. Could be the Sivir ban if they want to first pick the Azir, as an example, because now on blue side it's all about taking away the 2 most likely picks the other team will take in their first rotation. It is still open, Sivir Maokai. We know Yanin is a fantastic Sivir player.
But
you know, Kabushard, he loves to play the Maokai. Again, that's all the mind games, you know, because if you first pick Azir and they go Sivir Maokai, you go Poppy. So they might actually go Poppy instead with the Sivir.
Ooh, but Poppy into Maokai is absolutely brutal.
And that's why I think Vitality wants it. But Fnatic also wants it. Like, you're almost forced to do it.
Fnatic have to take Poppy here because it is just the better tank that's left available. The only matchup that is good against it is, guess what? Trundle. And that was Fnatic's first ban.
But look what Vitality did with their ban. Kassadin last on purple side. Normally Kassadin is a last pick only. But they're also, I feel, saying if you pick Poppy, we can still go Azir because now Kassadin is gone. And also the Varus, Corki are still being picked away. So that foundation of a poke comp against the Azir. So I feel like they put themselves in a situation where they could pick it.
Sivir Azir would be really
have to take it here. They have to take it.
But Jhin is also...
Oh, he does it! All right. That's the leaf out of the Reckless book. I like it. So, Jin Azir, I mean, this is a lot of poke
I mean,
already.
this entire pick and ban phase, now 2 games running, has been built around Azir.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so we're going to ban all this and the Cassidy on purple side so we can take the Azir when you first pick the Poppy. And the last game again with the last pick Azir coming, or last pick Cassidy. Does Fnatic have another potential counter ready?
I think, personally, it's time for the Vel'Koz.
Hey, we have seen the matchup.
It's happened before.
It's actually a good matchup for Vel'Koz, but even good matchups against Azir, like, you don't destroy him.
No.
He will actually do well in almost everything, and that's the thing about the Cassidy. Azir will destroy the Cassidy in the early game, and it didn't happen for Nuke Dog, which was one of the problems also in the last game.
There is still Lissandra if you just want to play the Lissandra Sivir comp that Fnatic can still opt into. It just revolves around pushing, force pushing mid and then rotating towards the Sivir that will be AFK pushing you. It's really rough, I think, though. Sivir to Jhin seems like a tricky lane. It's easy to spell shield to W, but
Just
you can take some nasty trades from the
Yeah, but I still think Sivir can just focus on just pushing wave there.
Depends on the support.
Obviously, yeah, depends on support. It is going to be Alistar on the side of Fnatic, but a Lissandra Sivir combo is very likely because Jhin is also weak against these hard engaged compositions.
Oh yeah, he gets overrun.
Like Lissandra, he just gets fucking destroyed.
There we go. Let's take a look on the other
that's all
side.
we need to know.
No, yeah, no. We move on fast.
Move on, guys, move on.
All right, so the Alistar's picked up. We could still see the Sivir from Fnatic, but I'm interested in his Spirit's performance again on this Kindred.
Yeah.
Because he was a monster, especially out farming Shook and still having a bigger impact around the lanes.
He also had probably the best possible lane swap for Kindred ever seen.
Yeah.
With like double Rift Scuttler early on. and-
Guys, I'm gonna peace out in the
Yeah,
jungle.
I'm just
You guys
gonna-
play this game, macro, micro. I don't really care. I'm just gonna farm.
And he got double passive stack very early with the Rift Scuttlers. Vitality again running the Thresh. It is their normal #1 support pick for Kissing. And again, the Shook Gragas coming in. So it's somewhat the same kind of composition for them. And we will probably get that Lissandra Sivir we mentioned.
You called it.
Run over the Jhin. I'm not going to add the other part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Fnatic, I mean, it's just a Sivir comp. No worries about it. They've got some lockdown. They've got CC. They've got disengage. They've got engage. They can run it. Vitality. The thing is, if Vitality can keep a front line around this Jhin, around this Azir, that last pick is going to be so crucial. What is Cabochard going to take here? Does he go Nautilus again?
I mean, he has to find a tank here that he can play. I think Nautilus has a slightly better matchup in the Poppy early. Maokai has a really rough level 4 or 5 where
Yeah.
Poppy, if she controls and manipulates the wave well enough, it is so hard to play against. One thing I want to talk about that I like with Sivir comps generally is just the AFK push. If you have like Sivir Janna, Sivir Bard, you can put pressure on the tower. But right now, Sivir Alistar actually doesn't have lane control opposed to Jhin Thresh, so she actually loses the push here if Jhin Thresh go aggro. And that actually kind of ruins the whole setup of this Lissandra Sivir interaction
There
in the
it
early
is.
game.
Okay, we've seen this.
Wondering.
Definitely a strong pick in the top lane. Seen more and more in Korea. Was played earlier today in a lot of the games up in the top lane. Just full tank Echo. Go for the Iceborne Gauntlet in there. Sunfire. It's a very standard tank build, obviously.
It's annoying. It's just really annoying to
It
deal
is.
with.
It is. But it's one of these picks that we have to see against the likes of a Poppy. Because Poppy's just so good against the very generic tanks
She
like
outduels
Nautilus
them.
and Maokai. Percent damage, she just outduels them, they can't kill her. Still, this composition from Fnatic is very, very strong. And I really like the 1-3-1 split push you do have with Poppy and Lissandra, because again, Poppy will outduel most tanks, and because Lissandra with TP will have pushing power in a side lane after. And Vitality couldn't play properly 1-3-1 in the last game. So I feel like Fnatic coming out with a very strong pick and ban phase here.
We talked about Fnatic having a tricky composition to pull off. It's Vitality that has it on their side. Really curious to see if they're able to do it as Sean still all smiles, shaking hands with Daylor off the stage. His team is down 0-1, even though they came into today the favorites. Fnatic, on their side, they always seem to find a little something, and maybe this is the start of it, but we'll have to see if the Sivir comp can beat out the Jhin.
For me, this is just a really fun two type of compositions to watch and try and figure out whether it's standard lanes or lane swaps, because generally, Sivir pushes in the tower all the time. Right now, as we said before, that's countered by Thresh Jhin. But if you look at how quick they can lane swap overall, you have Sivir, Alistar, Poppy. If Poppy starts Q, the tempo you can generate in that lane swap, as we head into the game right here.
Crowd's
Let a moment
fired
breathe
up.
before I bore the crowd again with the lane swap. I think if Fnatic get a lane swap, they really put Vitality in a big disadvantage again. Because Echo will scale slower into the game. They have the higher tempo. by a tiny bit in the lane swap, and they open up the map for these rotations, and then the dives with that Lissandra.
Take a look, zeroing in on that Lissandra as we go into game number 2.
In case you were confused.
You got to be able to count in the LCS, and Fnatic fans can count 1-0 on the board right now.
They can also count the alphabet in Norwegian, I believe, because this is Norwegian esports school here.
It
Big
is.
shout out to our Norwegian esports class. Come in mass today.
Did you guys know I'm actually 25% Norwegian?
Which 25%?
My right leg.
Right leg. All right, good to know.
That is a useful fact. I'm going to store that one in my cap.
Yeah.
Fnatic, we'll take a look if they do go for that lane swap.
I don't think it's that useful, actually.
I
never
just
know.
wanted to make this conversation about me. That was it.
Well,
And it worked.
It's still feeling after effects from Draven Day yesterday, aren't you?
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So
What a
Vitality,
bot lane performance.
Let's talk the lane swap though, because Vitality have moved up to the top side without any vision. They're anticipating this, but they're walking over the ward now to Fnatic swap back.
Oh, hang on, the corner. Ah, they don't do it. They don't go for the play. Never
Still, even if you did here, I feel like just the
lose,
return damage from the double range is probably better. But they do spot them on top side, so Vitality will get the 2v2 lane.
And it changes the push prio, because right now they don't challenge here early. So once Sivir gets the push early, she can actually keep pushing over and over. So this is really good.
Also taking a longer route around. He's actually staying around mid lane. He maybe wants to gank. He did the exact same thing last game, but that was against a Kassadin.
Yeah.
Now Yanan has to wait for the wave. They already knew they had lost the push when they invaded in, and Fnatic just kind of snuck around them up to the top side.
He's playing Jhin with no auto attacks and a spell that ruins all the creeps. So he may actually just get one CS here. Nope.
No, he's not going to
Nope.
get one. I got
CS
one.
lead for Reckless already.
Ouch. All right, let's not show that for the rest of the game. Let's just stay on the masteries.
Oh, and they go back
Pretty
to Grom.
standard stuff across the board.
Oh, this is actually really smart. So Fnatic see them come. They know they lose a duel. They go for push prio early. Then they get to the Groms. Do not really challenge this wave. They don't want to trade. And they just play on an experience advantage. And then this wave will automatically push back to Fnatic.
Yep.
They're playing a really calculated style here, already level 2. And now they have access to some sustain. Obviously nerfed a bit, but it means that Alistar can step forward and zone a bit more.
Yeah, Keystones coming in. No real surprise. Fervor battle for Kindred, obviously in the jungle, not Strength of the Ages. Okay, I guess there's like a Sync Thunderlords like it did last game. It didn't benefit him at all because they went a lane swap, but now they do have the 2v2 lane. And also Deathfire Touch, of course, for Jhin. Important, especially late game, because your ulti is single target damage when it lands in after the change that happened to him. So that Deathfire Touch will do full damage. And it's a lot in the late game when you stack up so much AD.
Yep.
At least for Kasing, he's managed to go the Exhaust Summoner spell this time around. Last time that Ignite lasted him the level 2.
Keep them in place so the Thunder Lord will proc. Ah, I see it. I see it.
Yeah. It's bloodthirsty Kasing, for real. Take a look at Kabashard and Gamsu in their 1v1. I want to really understand a little bit more about how this Echo Poppy matchup goes. You guys have been talking about it a lot, but I've only seen it a few games in Korea.
I mean, the whole thing about a Poppy matchup is that you want to put your opponent either in a wall or you E him, and then you put the slow on him, and you want to make sure your cube double procs. Echo can at least dodge a lot of that, and has really good early push too with those Qs on the minion wave. It's just really nimble.
Yeah, but while it is Echo and you feel like there should be a lot of action,
there you go.
We get some.
He's not nimble when he eats a faceplant on the wall, though.
Oh, he's taking a lot. Steadfast presence on Gamsu is hunting. He will back away, though, but Spirit looking to set up a dive. Or not.
Spirit is farming. If he happens to stumble upon an enemy champion along the way, maybe.
Isn't that just another camp, technically, to take?
The Cavo camp.
The Capo camp here gives a bit of extra gold for you. Respawns fairly quickly as well to start, and you can just keep clearing it.
It's definitely been the case last game. Spirit, though, opts to just clear out some jungle and spook Kabashard just a little bit, who will be teleporting down to reset against Gamsu.
So TP advantage for Gamsu now. What normally will happen in a lane like this, after TP has been used early, is you push it in, you recall, and you don't teleport back to lane. You run back to the lane. And you save your TP, because you're level 5 now, you're going to be 6 fairly soon, and then you can start putting pressure
Or you can dive top.
on the other side of the map. Especially with Poppy, she's fantastic at diving these towers, because once you're stuck there, you're near a wall, almost no matter what, and you get knocked into it, and you can set up plays. Gamsu, on the other hand, is being greedy for farm here and saying, I just want to keep my lead.
I think there's a case to be made for both plays. It's really hard to get the teleport play in top, though, because Yarn and Kasing always have the push priority, because they're double range. So it's hard for
gank them with
Fnatic
them.
to get a ward behind that actually enables the teleport. And obviously, you want to keep Kabashard down, because he played really poorly from behind.
The thing is, you just move up your jungler to help you place the ward. You have double TP as well. You would have had double TP, but instead now, Vitality can actually go for a play.
Yeah,
that hitbox.
3-on-2. Reckless He's going to be walking it out, but Cly is the one who's body tanking the rest of it all still. Not able to find any damage there.
But no one dies. But this is the kind of play that will get punished instantly by double TP. Because you would just TP straight on them and say, all right, here's a 5v3. We're going to win this one, we're going to take it. But that's obviously what Vitality knew. Once they saw the TP on bottom side from Gamsu, we can now go for the gank. We only have to respect Febiven, who's a pre-level 6 Lissandra. And therefore, it is okay for Vitality to go for the gank. Nothing really comes from it, even in CS, except for the bottom lane.
Ty did play that well here. He goes for a combo. That's a little bold on his mate, though.
Yeah, they pulled him in, but they were just yanking his chain. He's walking out. Still, some serious damage carved out of his backside. Now Shook going in, flashing to finish off the body slam, and Spirit's in some trouble here. Cobblershard now looking to revenge, but the arrow dance over the wall, and the Poppy Hammer sends him flying all the way back.
Spirit saves the flash, gets another dash over the wall, and obviously knew he wasn't going to die after Gamsu saved him. Something we've seen from Fnatic in the later parts of LCS is a lot more focus around Gamsu.
I think it's
with
the
your
right play. I think it's the right play if you're a team like Fnatic, who now actually have a support that seems to be understanding his boundaries better. On that gank, I think Clyde played it extraordinarily well. He peeled first for Reckless, got a double combo out, then walked out and held his flash. He played it perfectly, and then it allows, obviously, Spirit to get Gamsu rolling, and then once Gamsu gets rolling, guess what? Double TP either top, or you play the 1-3-1 Sivir mid, and suddenly Fnatic are playing a comfortable game.
Yeah, we will definitely see Fnatic run a proper 1-3-1 later with Febiven side lane, and Gamsu, of course, in the opposite lane, and as a Sivir, it's where AD carries shine. You sit mid and you wave clear. It's all you do for about, what, 20 minutes, and then you wait for your team to win side lanes and collapse in mid, and then you can start joining the fights. As a Sivir, of course. 20 minutes, a little bit of an overstatement,
but
you guys
when
get the point.
You can just go on in and start the fights off, and it's been fairly even for those two AD carries for now as they just continue to trade a little bit back and forth, taking stock of where the game's at. It's a slight lead for Fnatic, but as you said, it's more than just the gold. It's the comfortability they're playing with right now. This comp is much more straightforward, and Vitality's is hard to execute.
And again, also, Febiven doing more than fine in this 1v1 mid lane against the Azir. So Fnatic in the last game didn't get punished by the Azir pick. This game, they first picked the Poppy, who again is by far the best top lane pick once Trundle is banned, and saying you can take Azir one more time, we take this on, we play split push, and right now Febiven has pushed in another wave.
So we have to look at some of the reasons why we were praising Yuto. Gamsu here.
Oh, nice.
Nice W here, cancelling obviously the mini dash that Cobblershard wants to use. But back to Nukta, we praised him because he was actually one of the best self-sustaining mid laners. He had the lowest jungle gravity in the league for a very long time, which means, if you don't know what that means, Shook wasn't camping for Nukta. So he was playing very fine. Jankos kind of jokes about it, farming at his tower. But that means he's playing a passive gameplay-oriented style where he doesn't really punish his opposing mid lane. So Fnatic get away with this Azir matchup.
We can see TP top here now. It comes in from Febiven.
On the hunt, they look for Kasing. Can they find him? He's going to play back up, and the Claw's coming in. They put him in Tomb, and that is going to be first blood over to Reckless. Looking for revenge is Nukeduck, and the curtain call does not find enough damage.
And a very big part of why Lissandra is such a good pick right now is because she runs teleport, and her ganks are very, very effective. This is a very textbook play from Fnatic, and there's very little you can do as a Vitality team because you needed your jungler to be there already. Fnatic would just call off the dive then, and just push in another wave.
And this is why I don't like the fact that Nukeduck's not aggressively challenging the push against Febiven.
It's a problem. Nukeduck have not been able to take control of this mid lane.
And more importantly, this Thresh pick too. It works if you're making picks, but I think Thresh has seen a decline in the current meta game versus some of these tank supports like a Braum, maybe even a Bard, something that can escape. Spirit now gets hooked. Oh, Lantern.
Thing wants to prove you wrong.
Yep, there's the flash already burned. See if they can take him down here. They can. It's Shook with the kill, but the hook helped out.
This is what Thresh is made for.
There you go.
There.
So they equalize the kills.
Opposite class occurs.
Yep, it does happen. Oh! Bebby scoots his way out. Does not get hit by the Emperor's Divide, and Nukeduck is kicking himself.
Yeah, built the wrong in the wrong place. Febiven escapes. And Nukeduck tried to go aggressive. His jungler just got a kill. His support was coming in towards the mid lane as well. Had he been able to knock Febiven back, could probably force the flash from him straight away just by basically having Febiven know that two guys are coming from the side. And he had to respect that, but he stays alive. Dexter wants to join in. If he wants to take all the credit, he can just be on the caster desk instead. We out of here.
Cabo will need to be a beast on this Echo too. Last game, we got caught out of position a number of times. He did not really do what we've expected of him on this team. Admittedly, yes, he's on a tank. It's a different meta. It's a different time now. But as Stress said on the desk, does that gimp him?
I mean, yeah, it gives the advantage he has. If you are the better player overall and the mechanical player, regardless whether you're Cabo or not, your advantage will not be as big if you're playing tanks versus tanks. Because the extremes are just farther, are closer together when you're playing tanks. If you play skill matchups like that snowball, like a Fiora, once you start winning one kill, it's over.
Mitch, let's look at the bottom lane here.
All right, Martin.
There we go, Mitch.
And Yarnin might be in some trouble. Teleport around the side. Kasing's already down, and Cabo completes it, but it's a 2v5. Yarnin just melts in the back, and Febiven getting the credit for that one means Cabo is running with his tail between his legs.
And this is why we sang so much praise to the Sivir Lissandro double TP combination with Trundle.
Absolutely love it. I think it's one of the strongest combos you can run in this current meta here because you have so much wave push to set up these dives. Nuke Duck, he's out of here.
And it's not like Vitality don't know this. This composition has been played in every region multiple weeks already now, and teams have seen it. They know the strengths, they know these play patterns. The problem is, there is so little you can do against it, and that just makes it beautiful.
And if we want to go back to Dexter's tweet here, Echo definitely is a fantastic pick on the top lane, but Poppy just offers everything you want in this meta. Look here, TP coming in from Gamsu, of course. His team doesn't really need him at this point. They already killed him, but he joins in. Look at that stun.
Yeah.
Look at that stun right there, you know. That's the Poppy pick. That's why we like it. Everything else was also very well done, but we just want to talk about Poppy.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic get in, they grab two kills, they get the tower, they get out, they get Drake. Everything they wanted on the board. They're 3,000 gold up, and we're 12 minutes in. This is big for them.
This is fantastic to see that they really understand their compositions, how to play it, but they also understand the little things to stay in the game. Last game, they had a very tall amount to climb, but they made the right instant pivots. You know, these little things here that back off, punish this mistake right here. Here as well, they read the situation with the bot lane coming in. They went for the push early Grom, so they stayed even in lane. Like, really good adaptation from Fnatic.
I think it's fair to say Fnatic right now are just reading the game 5-6 seconds faster than Vitality every time. Last game was the same deal. Like, oh, you are slightly overextending. I know you want one more wave. I know it only takes you a few more seconds, but that's where we strike and we kill you. Slow down the game. This one here, oh, we can set up a TP gank. Shook wasn't there on top side. Obviously, not blaming him for the play, but he wasn't nearby top side, so Fnatic could execute the gank. Doing the same on bottom side now, and at this point, it just snowballs out of control.
Yeah. Cabo Shard wishing he could go 6 seconds in the future as well. Unfortunately, only goes back in the past.
Yep.
And Vitality need to start looking ahead. This game is looking rough for them. If they can't execute that poke, they can start picking kills, but they've only got 1 to the 3 that Fnatic have managed to secure. Lost out on the Dragon, not secured any towers.
And it's so hard to make picks on any of these champions. Like, if you catch Spirit, at least he can buy some time with his ultimate, unless you knock him out. Gamsu can always hammer, go for hammer time. And Febiven, self-ulti, spell shield on Reckless, Alistar with the ultimate. It's so hard for Vitality to make some picks with his Gragas and his Thresh.
Now, there was a ward being placed by Fnatic near the enemy crooks, and you can see also the mark from Kindred, of course. It was actually pinged by Fnatic when they put it down, and it can be one of these wards we shortly mentioned in the last game when you run these double TP ones. You want to have these deep lane wards, so when someone pushes out, if you have a 1v1 going between a Poppy and an Echo, you can TP in there as the Lissandra behind Echo where he doesn't expect it, 2v1 kill him. I think honestly maybe they've been hoping that Jhin would show up and it would happen to him. Instead they're saying, you know, it's not happening now, let's try and gank mid lane. Spirit is somewhat planting his face into the wall.
And we see another weakness of this Azir, something we talked about in the last game, that it is no longer 1-3-1, it's this 1-1-3.
Yeah.
Where everybody's stuck on the bottom lane, and that means that Fnatic, if you have control of the center of the board, you get access to so many plays. And that's what they're doing here with this push. With Sivir in the mid lane, they can rotate to the side lane. Worst case, they see members in the bottom lane, so they just go for the dive mid.
And Nuke Duck is out, but they don't need to get the kill. They can just start wailing away at this tower with the minion wave already there. Nuke Duck has almost no mana. You can't really defend this. Vitality are going around the side, and they've started the counter engage the collapse, but Gamsu sends the hammer flying, and he knocks Kasing back. Now he's surrounded into the box, but it doesn't matter. He's into the ground, and Fnatic can take this tower with ease.
And that for me is the true beauty of this composition, as we see a casket from Shook, Spirit goes low.
Oh, Lamb's respite on, and they all group up to finish it off and get the heal to boot.
It is that you can always set up for these dives. and you can either knock people away when they're defending it or have frozen tomb. And even if you tell the opponent, hey, we're about to dive you, step away from your turret, you take the tower and you open up the map. And Fnatic is playing to their strengths beautifully.
And we just keep seeing Fnatic understand. When you're against an Azir, don't try and like 1v1 play against him. He's extremely strong there. Don't let him scale up for late game. Just play around him instead. And then in the end, force big fights. This here is now Vitality trying to react to a fairly poor situation. Like, let's try and collapse on them, flank them from the side and stop them around our own tower. But Engage is very poor from them. And it is a thing for Vitality in the past. When it comes to synergizing engages, it's not been the greatest.
Yeah.
When you have a Thresh, you never want to send him in first. Like, he's not your engage. It has to be the Gragas flying in, knocking someone back. Has to be Echo landing that stun, of course, with his W. Fantastic zone he also offers. When that isn't there, your team fights are very difficult to execute.
And we just have to start looking at player performances. Gamsu is shining brighter than Cabochard this game. Feven is doing better than Nuktuk, some things that we weren't really seeing throughout the regular season. And Fnatic's looking to go 2-0 against the hailed super team, where anything less than first was failure. They may not even make it to Rotterdam.
Fnatic on their side, well on their way. They can keep this pace up. Turret successfully defended once again. And they force Vitality to really dance to their tune. They're forcing them to group up. And yeah, in a suboptimal situation.
They're diving Nuktuk again.
Oh boy, there's the claw. He's out. I mean, Nuktuk hasn't gone down this game, and between those two summoners and his shifting sands, he's probably not going to as much, but it doesn't matter. They're losing ground.
But the purpose is to send them back to base so you can take objectives, whether it's towers, dragons, heralds, and barons. If you poke somebody out and he bases, that's essentially the same as just killing him on a shorter death timer. He's removed off the map, and suddenly you can take control. And that's what Fnatic is doing. They're just giving Vitality two bad choices: die or step away.
Yeah.
And in either situation, it works out for Fnatic.
Oh! Close one on the Rift.
It's helping.
Chook was assisting on that. Feven will pick this one up, so they have a little bit more pushing power as he moves up to the top side. He'll end up meeting Yarnin there. Vitality, though, losing ground still. Not been able to find a tower, and they've lost all of their outers.
And it's not going to be easier for Vitality in this game, because this 3-1-1 comp we keep mentioning with the AD carry and side lane with support and jungle setup, it really struggles against double TP compositions, because it's so much quicker for the double TP to obviously make a play on the other side of the map. An AD carry can only push his lane and then run from the one lane he's at to the lane right next to it. He's never going to appear on the bottom side all of a sudden if he's on top side. So it's very slow for Vitality in the way they're playing, and Fnatic just keep ganking Nuktuk over and over and over.
And it also, everything relies in this 1-1-3 composition on having push priority, and they only have it in one lane right now, Vitality, the 3-man. But the Cabochard is consistently being pushed in by Gamsu, and in mid lane, Feven is forced back, so this opens up for roams and then double TP.
TP's on both sides coming in. Feven goes in on the glacial path, and they put Yarnin against the wall and melt his health bar down to nil. Kasing now on the run. There's no one for the lantern to take, and Nuktuk, even though he gets the divide, still gets taken down to 0. And now Shook's caught. Nowhere to go, trying to get to his tower, but Headbutt Pulp says nay, and that is 3 kills to 0 for Fnatic.
And we actually see something we saw earlier today. If you watched Africa Freaks versus the Rocks Tigers, this is the same thing that happens. TP at one side, Echo's like, I'm coming in, boys. Everybody starts dying, and he just ulties out and he goes back to his original
I'm leaving, boys.
Cabochard just got focused so hard that the only play he could make was ultimate back to his initial lane.
And we laugh at all this mid lane focus from Fnatic, keep ganking Nuktuk over and over. It's not because they hate Nuktuk. It's just because when he gets pushed back in his lane, it means that whoever Fnatic is sitting in mid lane, again, most of the time it will be the Sivir, you can just leave that lane instantly and you can walk straight to the side lanes. So when Vitality are trying to push with this 3-man group, look on your minimap here. Reckless and Cly are already on top side. Look how far back Nuktuk is because he got pushed back from another gank.
And they
set up the TP. They know everything. They have full vision of him. And that's why they set up these plays in side lanes. You can never push as this 3-man group of Vitality because your mid laner is getting forced back towards his own base every single time, so you have no map control. And once you lose mid lane, you lose side lanes. Yeah, we saw Spirit just tear a new one for Nuktuk right there. He just came in and tried to enter the fight, but he just got destroyed. Cabochard is his post-ulti when he's walking back to lane, and it just shows you this game exactly highlights the strength of this composition. You have Lissandra, which is a great force pusher. She can always decide to push a wave. Worst case, you give her help, and then you rotate.
And we have to call it what it is. Vitality were overextended in the top lane. That was just a clear-out mistake from them. You can't afford to do that against a double TP comp.
But there's nothing Vitality can afford to do almost at this point, because if you cannot even overextend on that lane and try and push it in with your 3-man group, you can't do anything. Like, that's it. Right?
Might as well forfeit.
Yeah, you can just go back and try and take a 5-on-5 team fight where you are at the moment behind in almost every single lane. So it's a very, very smart pick and ban phase from Fnatic, and they showed they can execute early to mid game, where Vitality in the last game had somewhat of the same, should we say, win condition. You know, had to play very aggressive in early to mid game, play around side lanes. They failed to do it.
This is just where you have to question how Sean's gave away Poppy, Sivir, and Lissandra. I don't think that trio should ever go to any team, because I've yet to see a solid reply from some teams. But two very predictable and easily executable, but very strong gameplay patterns, which is the push, then the roam, the division, the dives with the double teleport, unless you match it with another TP mid laner that can somehow challenge Lissandra and push.
I actually think Vitality coming into this has tunneled too hard on not Azir specifically, but what you need to ban and pick around him to try and make him work. Because Jhin was locked in as the first rotation because it didn't want Fnatic to play Jhin against the Azir. They're like, oh, we don't want this long-range poke against the Azir. That's one of the counters to him, so we will take it. But that gave away the Sivir pick. It could have been an Azir-Sivir first rotation.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And suddenly you would have a lot more fast-paced pushing coming in from Vitality. The Jhin versus strong comp, but yeah, and we've seen this before. Nuclear is getting forced off his little toy tower in the mid lane.
That Sivir fell through so far in picks and bans, and Fnatic have been able to grab so much. You really, if you're Sean's, you have to look at this game, you have to look at last game, and realize what's going wrong, because Klai instantly unbreakables, and he is not in any kind of trouble. Wave pressure on the top side for Fnatic as Shook in mid dash gets bopped up.
Yeah.
Still some wards around the side for Vitality. They're not completely blind to what's going on, but blind or not, you're 7k down. It's 22 minutes.
And Fnatic right now, they're setting their sights on the Baron. So they do step 1, which is the deep vision. Now they're looking to push up mid lane somehow while having pressure in the bottom. And then they have different paths. They can either start the Baron, which is probably the most likely they're ever going to lose a fight if they start it and then get a Baron stolen. But they're more likely just going to use it to force Vitality again in one of those situations where all they can do is make mistakes. Face check or just straight up lose the Baron.
Yeah, or if you are Fnatic, you start the Baron knowing that you're not going to finish it.
Yeah. Because
you just want to force the double TP, also the teleport from Capuchat, and then Febren will follow him. You disengage. Right after, you just put Gamsu on the bottom lane. And you say, all right, who's going to defend now? Because no one can follow. So he goes to the bottom lane, you push it in, and then you can start the Baron and get a 4v5 team fight. So there are a lot of great opportunities for Fnatic now.
Just need pink wards.
Oh, the pink wards, cripple.
I know you've had a little bit of cause to cheer, but
there are quite some
more. Here's a couple more in there. Teleport for Feb, been stopped on the box, but he turns for Yarden right now. Can he take the Lantern out?
Nope.
No!
Blocked.
Steadfast Presence says blocked up. And now Spirit flashing right over the Emperor's Divide. A huge amount of damage on a Nuke Duck, and he is out of this fight.
This is the second fight where Spirit is pretty much 1v1ing Nuke Duck in the backline, while Yarden gets absolutely destroyed. This early rotation, first rotation Jhin pick is getting obliterated this game.
And again, you keep moving the Jhin to side lane because that's the way you want to try and play this composition if you're Vitality. You have no way of escaping from long lanes. You only have the Lantern from Thresh, that's it.
He doesn't fit into the Azir comp because they both want the mid lane in the mid game. Right now, Shook needs to steal this Baron.
Going solo here, Shook trying to be the hero. Throw it in, they catch Gamsu. Big Barrel comes out, but Shook, he's distracted, can't do a thing. And the Baron goes over. Fnatic now start to plow through Cabo Shard, and they've taken him out. It's Reckless with a kill on that one, and they keep on running on the hunt. Not quite available yet, but they just don't need it. Nuke Duck, Shook, scattered to the winds, and can sing now. Knocked back in. Gamsu gets the kill. Climbing up the scoreboard right now. Fnatic just shredding every member, but it's a return kill for Yarden. With the curtain call, he's able to get at least one back. Maybe more. Spirit. Oh, he's down. That's a double kill for the Jhin.
Yeah, 3 kills go down here for Vital. A little greedy. The flash to trade support to support off the Baron is debatable. And then Fnatic, they don't actually take mind of Yarden respawning, but this is how it all started. Teleports come in early.
Yeah, play we've seen before. Vitality trying to play with the 3-man in side lane. Yannick gets collapsed on, he dies, nothing he can do as a Jhin. Spirit, of course, in the back here. This Kindred pick has really been working for him. It's a massive pick over in the LCK. Obviously, Spirit is talking probably to a lot of his friends over there as well, being like, oh, guys, what are we playing at the moment? Okay, Kindred is very strong. This is how you want to play it. He's not as far ahead in this game compared to the last one, but still, when you get that more of Memorges, you actually become a bruiser.
Yeah, just use the base damage and become tanky at the same time. Kind of similar to Graves. Look at Clyde here, goalkeeping Shook out after the hammer misses. Just getting him away from the Baron as far as he can. Then obviously you have Kindred ultimate to keep yourself alive. We have to contrast the utility of these picks though. So far, Kasing's Thresh, while we praise him as the better player, he's done absolutely nothing in this game.
Yes, and the same can be said for this Gragas pick to Shook. This game and last game. Obviously, this one is tough. You fall very far behind. There are no open team fights for Gragas to use. But still, when we look at Shook as a player, he's the Kindred type. He's the Nidalee type. He's the man who wants to power farm, invade enemy jungle, and skirmish you. He's never been much of a team fighter. He's been put on a team fighting pick twice now because it is a fantastic pick in the meta. But in the last game, there was missed opportunities when it came to engages. This game, he never really got put in a situation where he actually could engage.
As they back out and disengage on that one. 10,000 gold is the lead for Fnatic. I'm glad you brought up Cly, though, as well, because while Shook, the more questionable member of his team, has been definitely struggling and on the lower end of his performance, Cly has stepped it up. We have seen him set up engages, set up disengages. He was the hero to knock Shook away from that whole fight. As the curtain call comes in now and the siege is on the tower, Gamsu is just going to body block this one, and they just keep taking down towers.
And he's not even played every fight perfect, because I've been keeping an eye on him. There's obviously things he can improve, but he's just delivering, and he's no longer making those minor mistakes where he's stepping too far forward and being caught off guard.
Mitch, he's learning what every support has to learn, has to realize.
Should have learned.
Should have learned, I guess, in your case. You don't have to be the carry as a support. You don't need to be the guy always getting the sick flank engage on an Alistar, not three guys and headbutting back one guy. You don't have to be that guy. Especially not when you're new joining the team and you're still learning. He's taking the support role, basically. He's staying with his team right now. He's doing the simple plays instead of the big plays. And it's been working for him because he's not being caught out, which is important for Klein.
Right. And while Fnatic have been knocking down these turrets and forcing these fights on Vitality, they've also found time to very quietly stack up dragons. They just hit number 3 right now. So they've got the move speed boost. Vitality have got nothing in the tower department. No other objectives on this map. And they are quite broke compared to Fnatic.
I don't even think Vitality will probably get a tower. I mean, we are at this point where Fnatic are still so far ahead with their comp, and it's not going to slow down at all. Even late game, if you look at a Kindred late game, is great.
No, it speeds up. You got
Stivir is so strong in the late game, and Poppy is just the S tier top lane pick, especially with Trundle being banned.
Yeah, once this home guards gets enabled too, like Fnatic, they're in position to fight on their turf or on their ground, so they can always decide when they want to pick a fight. And if they're keeping as smart as they have been, I don't see how Vitality is ever going to win a fight, because teleport flying from Gamsu just will annihilate anybody. Kindred has been 1v1ing people in the backline, and it's impossible to take Reckless now.
That being said, that Baron fight did turn out to be a 3v3, or the extended after fight, but mostly because of a couple Fnatic mistakes. You can't imagine they'll be making those consistently. That was the most kills that they've given up this game, and it really...
I mean, how did it unfold? It was a long, drawn-out fight where people split up, and then curtain call was used to pick people off. But what have Fnatic been doing? They've been setting up fights, engages where Hjarnan has, a lifespan of maybe 4 seconds, and then he's dead. He's gone. There's no lantern to take, because he's either in an ice tomb or he's getting blocked by Steadfast Presence.
And now if you are Vitality, you can't play side lanes anymore with your Jhin. Like, that's not going to happen. So the amount of ways you can play out this game is limited to almost one, which is try and get a team fight going.
You hide him in the lane, you put somebody to start a duel, seemingly 1v1, and then the Jhin W comes out and you get a snare. That's seemingly the only play pattern that Vitality can go for.
Right, so again, you have 4 men together and 1 guy in side lane, which is Capo Short.
Oh, Reckless may get caught here.
Oh, he does, and he gets knocked back in. Spell Shield comes in a little bit too late. The hook is going to land on his Spirit. A teleport coming around from the back, and another one coming around the front. Shook, though, is already a little low. Gamsu exhausted, but he turns around from Kasing, and this is a very messy fight with Cabo Shard coming in around the side. Chrono breaks, but is it too late for him? Has to flash into the Baron pit, followed by Spirit, jumps over, dances of arrows. Febivin comes in, and that's a double kill.
A little bit of miscommunication there. Febivin and Gamsu going both at the same time. As we see Kjarnan almost drop here. Gamsu has E available soon. Fly healing for Nuktuk. Nuktuk should be dead here.
One auto attack, and that's all Reckless needs for the long-range boomerang follow. 3 members down for none. They're starting to push inhibitors.
Yeah, when Febivin went in, the hammer time came down, and he kind of swung all of his opponents out, but he still got shook down. And it all started with a good pickup on Vitality, but they weren't on the same page with their skill shots, and if they don't make that stick, it's over.
Right, again, you are not able to execute your composition, but we talked about how Fnatic or Vitality had like one play. Go 4-man mid, try and catch someone to start a fight with the Gragas, and like that's it. And if that doesn't work, you lost. But even that is not even a great play. Like that's the key thing again. Is these fights for Vitality, it's just like Hail Marys. They're just trying to have that one last play where they get something that can maybe get them back in the game. They actually even also missed the crit here from Yana with the last hit because people are out of range there. And then Engage coming in, double TP Fibrin, sees the backline. I mean, so does Gamsu at the same time.
Knocks him away. It all starts with just the body slam there, and then the follow-up from Bjarne. He tried to use that deadly flourish to connect, and that could have one-shot Reckless, because then he can't spell shoot anymore. He gets one-shot, but there was miscommunication. I don't think Shook should have actually went for the barrel there, and he should have just relied on a follow-up from Bjarne over the wall. And this is obviously how it ended, with Nuktuk falling down with a traveling auto attack from Reckless. But Vitality need to be on the same page with these Jin comps.
Yeah, second game in a row. They're having such a hard time. If they lose this one, they'll be down to match point without having picked up a single thing against Fnatic, who are just surging in this. A minute and a half until the next Dragon's available. Baron now becomes a baitable object, and there are 2 downed inhibitors. Vitality are hurting.
And even though the composition from Vitality in game 1 was just fine, they have shown that they can't execute these 3-1-1 comps, where it's the 80 carry support jungler on one side lane and Azir sitting mid. And then you rely on these synergized engages with your jungler. They haven't been able to execute it. And Fnatic have just been running over them, honestly, 2 games running.
This might be a good fight, though, because they can kite. This is like the one fight they want, where Fnatic all engage from the front door.
And you deal 0 damage.
Deal 0 damage on Cabochard. If you then opt in for the fight, and you keep chasing the Azir, that's the one they lose. But Fnatic smartly opt out. You have Cabo locked in the bot lane, no TP, so it's a 45 on Baron.
They're already starting it up. It's down to 7,000 health, and the rest of Vitality starting to collapse, but the best they can hope for is a 4v5, unless Cabochard puts his walking shoes on. Shook is already booted out, and they take down the Baron easy.
They're getting everything. Fnatic playing close to perfect in this series here. Definitely deserving of the 2-0. They are going to get very, very soon. They are pushing in, hopefully for Fnatic for the last time in this game, because you have super minions coming, you have 5 members here.
I mean, regardless what happens next week, if Fnatic do win here, that means Febby gets to go to Rotterdam. That's obviously something they're playing for. They really want to make it to that offline event. Now they're looking to finish. Cabo goes in.
Yep, they're trying to find a little bit of something, but Cabo's going to have to chrono break back towards his team. Clyde goes in, the last of his health bar used to knock Nuktuk in. There's a big divide, but it's not going to be enough to take anyone else down. Clyde might be down, but Fnatic are knocking on the front door. Nuktuk, that damage is evaporated. The Nexus turrets are falling. Fnatic have gotten everything in this game. Vitality, they've got nothing, and Fnatic are on match point.
I mean, we're seeing a team here change up the pick and ban phase a little bit because they were blue side, and honestly, loved every single one of the picks. Spirit is happy.
Spirit also loves these picks and the camera.
He gets to play his Kindred. He's been on fire today, but again, the first pick Puppy was spot on. Obviously, the Trundle ban, and then saying, oh, you're going to pick Azir? Well, we have Lissandra waiting. Vitality in this game made mistakes in pick and bans, but in-game, it was the same deal. Fnatic were just completely outplaying them.
Game 1 was risky and slow in their comp. We still don't really agree with everything they did, but they played it out smart, beautiful, and game 2, they get this fantastic composition. They use the same brain, and they completely annihilate Vitality. There was almost nothing they could do, especially after that little failed invade level 1, where they lose the crucial levels, the 1 to 3, where you can absolutely murder a Sivir, but it didn't happen. Reckless Claw, even against ganks, they survived, and all these issues have been fixed.
Give us more Lissandra Sivir.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Vitality's going to think the exact opposite.
That is beautiful. I mean,
what can they ban out?
Vitality has to play this kind of comp, where you enable Shook as well as a carry, not as an engager in team fights, because it's not working for the team.
They have 2 members on the wrong position. Like Shook's playing utility tanks when he wants to play duelers, and Cabochard is also on these stuck on these
He
tanks.
has to
the
play the
meta is
tanks.
shifted towards Fnatic here.
Yeah, and it's definitely working out in their favor. We'll send it back to the analyst desk to break down game 2 and match point.
Match point indeed, possibly for Fnatic booking their tickets to Rotterdam if they get one more game. You guys were talking a lot about the picks and bans, especially that top lane maybe shifting in the favor of Fnatic, and that was something, Stress, that you were talking a lot about during the game.
Yeah, it's something that from game 1 and 2, I think Fnatic have had so much freedom on. Typically, when we've seen Fnatic do badly, it's when Gamsu is put behind. In picks and bans, constantly, Gamsu has not only got comfortable champions for himself, but they're top of the meta. He gets Maokai, he gets Poppy. These are really strong champions right now. And this composition alone is pretty much exactly what Rox Tigers played against CJ a couple of weeks ago in one of their games. And it's so easy with a double TP. You talked about Vitality wanting to play 1-3-1. They just TP in with 2 people, take the fight and win it.
I mean, this Vitality team comp is not 1-3-1, and they're obviously struggling in the other team comps that I already said, they mentioned before. I said that their play was not going to be that good unless they improve, so I guess that's true. Also, I think Vitality draft is really bad, or not the optimal, because of they just leave Poppy, the most OP champion, I think, in the game right now, on the open on the red side, which should never be open on the red side unless you can get 2 powerful picks for it. But then they get like Azir early rotation, which again I don't think is that good, because now Fnatic has 1-3-1 and they have Lissandra and Poppy, really broken silent champions with Sivir to hold mid. They just have so good team comp that I don't think Vitality could even do that like that much.
But guys, I mean, beforehand, Perks, you did say, I think that 1-3-1 is what they're strongest at, but then you guys said at the beginning of the previous game, actually, if Vitality gets standard lanes, they will destroy Fnatic. Now, let's look at those lanes.
That was Jankos, not me.
Okay, what's Jankos? So let's take a look at the specific bottom lane matchup that was actually a top lane matchup, the Poppy versus Echo, because we had high hopes.
Well, we had high hopes just because it's Cabochard versus Gamsu, but to be fair, when it comes to Poppy, like, she's just so broken. I mean, I'm not sure what can you do, just because her Q can kind of outrate anyone. And as we can see here, Cabochard is kind of pressuring, but then at some point he will go to River and he will get chunked by Poppy. And here again, this was very weird actually, because Spirit is 100% dead, but then Cabochard misses his Q. So I don't think his Echo play was the best, as we could see in the replay.
Which was surprising to us, because obviously, you think if you want to bring this pick, you probably are proficient on it. However, they were now in a situation, Vitality, where they were about to be 2-0 down. But on the other hand, Fnatic doesn't look like the Fnatic that we thought was going to show up. What do you guys make of it? And can you pinpoint some things that they've gotten specifically better at? We have one replay of a tower dive early on where you, Perk, said they are so good, actually.
Wait, let me start, my boy, yeah? I want to say that Klai is actually performing good. I was not expecting Klai to play, to be that good right now. And it's kind of weird. As we can see here, he's kind of initiating the dive as well. He pops the ult insta, he doesn't tank the turret, which is kind of weird, but like the play before top lane and overall his play today, I think it's exceptional. I think he's playing at good support level right now, and beforehand he wasn't that good. As we can see here, he O-plays Shook, side juice his E, and then Q flash into 2 people, and oh my god, so good! Look at this Alistar. It's actually amazing how he improved in those 2 weeks. I don't know how he did it.
It was running.
He was running every day, yeah, maybe. Maybe it's the healthy lifestyle.
No food, no life, no hook, no...
I mean, as we can, yeah.
Well, in any case, we see Fnatic just pulling the trigger over and over, time and time again. Obviously, now we have to look at Vitality. They are with their backs against the wall. They have to win this next game. Where do the adaptations come in? Obviously, that double teleport, they're just going to do it again. How do you see Yukdog maybe faring with that second teleport, and then the champion she has to pick in order to do that?
Okay, I think Vitality, in order to win the next game, they have to completely change their draft. Like, they cannot go for Azir comps anymore because they are too bad at playing it. And double teleport is something that they are good at, or 1-3-1 overall. So they should go for like a carry top, like Graves or something, and then like mid, like Lissandra, or maybe even Queen, LeBlanc. I don't know, something that fits their playstyle overall as a team.
The problem is the Vitality playstyle is fairly slow. They have, was it the second longest average?
Third lowest average game time.
And the way that they want to play is they don't like to fight very often. So against a team like Fnatic that is running these comps that can get onto them, I don't know whether Vitality can shift that playstyle and play the Sivir themselves. We were talking about it from the jungle matchup, from the mid lane matchup. Do they have that ability to just go, okay, let's just go forward with our play?
I mean, that's kind of weird as well, because I don't know why they pick Jhin over Sivir when obviously Hernan is really good Sivir and they play it with it well. Also, maybe they should focus more around top lane, not enabling tanks for Gamzu and then getting carry pick for Cabochard could be really important as well. Because I think Cabochard can actually outperform Gamzu really hard, but with those matchups, like, he cannot do anything. Like, one game is lane swap and he's Maokai. Second game is Echo versus Poppy. At some point he will get outskilled anyway. Early laning phase he loses. So I think, yeah, the picks and bans from them are really weird, and hopefully they will change that, otherwise it's lost.
Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah, it's lost.
I expect Vitality to play Sivir next game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will see what happens in that one. One small thing before we go. We had some animosity here because if Fnatic manages to win, that means that you guys will end up playing Fnatic in the next round. And Jankos was very happy about that because they look quite good.
I mean, Fabian is really outperforming Nukeduck, but he cannot do that versus me.
Is it April Fool still, or what? What happened there? Fabian cannot outperform you? Oh, dude. Oh.
All right, well, we will see what happens and if that matchup ends up happening, but we are not the only region with a lot on the line this weekend. As we speak, the CBLOL finals are underway with INTZ. They are up 1-0 after a very close opening game over there with Ski. Now, we'll keep you updated throughout the day and tomorrow as we see how those games play out. Very important there. And tomorrow it is the Turkish Champions League finals between the world's qualifier Besiktas and Supermassive at the Volkswagen Arena in Istanbul as well. All the action kicks off at 2 p.m. Central European time. That is 5 a.m. Pacific. So be sure to tune in. A lot of League of Legends action. And here in Berlin, Fnatic is at match point as we look towards game 3. Don't touch that browser. We will be right back.
We go into game number 2. Fnatic fans can count 1-0 on the board right now. They look for Kasing. Can they find him? He's going to fly back up. And the claws coming in. They put him in Tomb.
All right, Martin. There we go, mid.
And Yarnin might be in some trouble. Teleport around the side.
Just kill him, just kill Jin. I have ultimate too. Nice.
And now Shutscon, nowhere to go, trying to get to his tower, but Headbutt Pulse says nay. In there, teleport for Feb have been stopped on the box, but he turns for Yarnin right now. Can he take the Lantern out? No! Blocked. Dead Fast Presence says blocked up. And Fnatic are on match point.